series.
Yep.
Hello, and thank you for stopping by the Masters of Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. We are looking at a brewery that, as Michael Komaroff, you might have heard just talk about. They make some pretty famous, well, at least they're recognizable, right? Game of Thrones beers. Do the three of us have Game of Thrones beers? Hell no. This is the Brewery Ommegang from Cooperstown, New York. They started, you know what? I didn't even look that information up. I am terrible. They've been around for such a long time in the American craft brewing scene. Again, Cooperstown, New York. And in 2003, the company was bought out by Duvel Moortgat Brewery. Now, the Duvel is primarily known for their Duvel Golden Ale, which is like 8% and dangerously drinkable. But these are Belgian-style beers. That's what this brewery does. So that's the kind of beers we will be enjoying this evening with special guest Michael Komaroff from Brooklyn, New York. And from the Tyler Mansell page of YouTube, it comes, what are you calling yourself, Tyler? Wisconsin, Washington Beer Reviews. Here he is, Tyler Mansell.
Tyler Mansell's Beer Reviews. And tonight I have a beer that's actually bottled in Belgium.
Okay, yeah.
And this is their sour pale ale. And I got this at Total Wine and Spirits. First time I've ever been there before. So that was pretty cool. I got this in their 4-pack. Something very interesting. It says, serve at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, pour slowly, and do not disturb the yeast sediment, but with enough vigor to create a luxurious head and release the rich bouquet. 6.9% alcohol by volume, and it's 11.2 fluid ounces. And this is their pale sour ale, which is imported to New York.
Very interesting. Michael Komaroff, what are you drinking?
Okay, mine is, I think, one of their standard ales.
I see you've already gotten into it a little bit.
I have popped it open, and this is Three Philosophers, and it's 9.7% alcohol. I think this is considered a triple, if I'm not mistaken. I can look at it and read about it too. Also, like Tyler's, it says to pour slowly, to not, make this. It's a quadruple.
Yeah.
So is yours is brewed right there in New York, then, huh?
Yeah, and Cooperstown.
So
very interesting.
The really interesting thing about that beer, and I've had it maybe once or twice, maybe twice, is that according to the website, ommegang.com, they say it's a blend of an Ommegang quadruple ale that they brew and Leafman's Creek. So that's pretty cool. All right. Interesting.
Our labels look exactly the same, but mine's brewed in Belgium. I'm pretty impressed by how they kept the labels the same and the appearance and the bottles and everything.
And this one is no exception. Here's a 12-ounce bottle. I don't have the exact receipt from when I bought this one. This is their Abbey Ale. It's their double. It is 8.2, I believe, % alcohol by volume. That is correct. And it is a 12 fluid ounce bottle. This might be a little bit too cold right now, but they say to serve it at 50 degrees. Yeah, it's got all this cold sweat on it. So let's just get it into a glass and start talking about the Ommegang beer. So while you guys are opening the beers and pouring it into a glass, as I like to talk about before we start actually examining these beers, what are everybody's impressions and what's their drinking history with the Ommegang Brewery? Let's start with Michael Komaroff.
I have a fairly long history with these. I've been drinking them for a while, and I also have a good availability here. It seems like it's always been very available in New York. I do have a couple of Game of Thrones sitting in my refrigerator, but I have not opened any of those yet, and I guess they're being cellared or whatever, just sitting there. I haven't had any. I have both this one and what's it called? A barrel-aged version of the same thing in my cellaring box, which I have also. And I like the company. I think they're very good, and it gives a good representation of the Belgian style. Mine, by the way, came in one of these, what would you call them? Champagne
Cork
type
and cage bottles.
cork and cage bottles. So
750 milliliters, right?
it is. There's your Ommegang top. So
I'm gonna pour it into a newly acquired tulip glass. There you go. All right, what are your histories with Brewery Ommegang, Tyler?
Yeah, first I just wanted to, how many ounces is Michael's?
Mine is.
Is it 750 milliliters?
Let's see what it is here. 1 pint, 9.4 fluid ounces. So that's 25.4.
Very nice.
So it's bigger than a bomber.
Now, I'm from the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, it's where I grew up. Right now, I'm living in Seattle, Washington, and we have a Total Wine and Spirits here. So I went there. Very nice, very clean store. A lot of beers that I've never seen before. I saw the Goose Island beer today. The Bourbon County Stout for only $12 a bottle. Almost bought it, but I bought this beer for the first time today. So I've never had this brewery before, and I'm getting this very bright yellow appearance with a ton of carbonation bubbles. And it looks like a Belgian style.
Yeah, my experience with the brewery Ommegang is that it seems like since I've been drinking beer, and well before that time period, I've just turned 30 in May, so 2010, 2011, that time period, I turned 21, and I always remember Brewery Ommegang being a beer company. And I think at that time period, if I'm not mistaken, even though being bought out by Duvel all the way back in 2003, they always seemed like a smaller brewery that had a good amount of distribution out throughout the Northeast and into New England. And they always seemed like they were a higher class beer at the time, a step up from everybody else. And for me to try to drink some of their beers was a little bit of a chore back in those days because I was not quite anywhere near the Belgian beer fan that I am now. So I do like a lot of their beers. I don't drink them a whole bunch, but they are readily available. And as my Belgian beer palate has changed since 21, I've learned to love these beer styles. So my beer, again, is their Abbey Ale. If this wants to focus, their double. And in the newly acquired tulip glass, there was a lot more ahead initially, but as you can see, there is this mahogany red, dark, maybe even like a brown kind of a color with tons and tons of carbonation. It's crazy looking with that tan white head.
Yeah.
All kinds of caramel, or caramel as I usually say. Somewhat syrupy sweet. Definitely like roasty, or not roasty, like toasty malts, toasty brown bread crust. Lots of raisins, dark fruits. Again, that toasty caramel toffee kind of figgy like note. It's got that Belgian yeasty, like almost like minerally funky kind of a smell to it, barnyardy, wet horse blanket kind of a smell to it. It just smells like a beer you do not really want to drink in the summertime, being a heavier, maltier, darker beer. But hell, if you're grilling meats, darker meats or whatever, this might actually go with some of that in the summertime. So far it smells like a really good malty Belgian bomb of a beer. What are you getting in the nose from three philosophers? Michael Kormeroff.
The first thing you get in the nose is you get the heavy yeast in it. You can tell the Belgian yeast is pronounced. Also, I'm getting the same kind of malty kind of feel you're getting in mine as well. I'm not getting so much that dark fruity kind of thing in this one though. It's more straight malt and the yeast together. Those are the two main elements. So I'm getting that kind of same kind of carbonation you have where the carbonation just keeps coming, and the lacing, as you can see in the front, the lacing is really nice. Not a big head, but the lacing is staying very, very solid. So it's mostly yeast and malt in the nose. And
you're seeing like in my glass here.
Yes, like rising, like yeast in there, and like a rising carbonation coming to the top in the lacing.
Are you getting any? You're not getting any like hoppy spice or like a rye malt or anything like that. I might have a different style of beer, so I'm kind of picking up on that as well.
No, but I'm getting that. I'm getting the sweetness you got. You had a little sweetness in yours. I'm getting that in mine.
We have, I believe, Gabriel Salaya. He is here, and actually, John Anele was trying to sneak in from work to watch a little bit. And at one point in time, John H. Pierre was watching from the park while he was doing fitness. So, yeah, all right. Back to the beer, the sour pale ale. Do you have anything to add to the nose and appearance of your beer, Tyler?
Yeah.
Before we take a sip.
It's very interesting because on the nose, I'm getting a lot what I would get on a Belgian Tripel.
Mm.
And I'm getting some.
And Bart Robinson. Hello.
Hi, Bart.
You know, Bart Robinson, if I could tear apart one beer, this would be the beer I'll tear apart. And Bart, you're a viewer that comes back every week, and you know we're not getting paid by these breweries. And here's the proof, because I'm smelling a Belgian beer. I'm smelling Belgian yeast, just like what Michael said. I'm smelling a little bit of banana. I'm smelling a little bit of tart sourness, which is interesting. Notice I'll get that on the nose a little bit. And I'm getting a little bit of maybe a little bit of breadiness, like Eric said. I don't know if I could say rye, but more of like the yeah, maybe a little bit of rye.
Okay. Well, you know, as echo occurs.
Definitely crackery-ish.
I like that description. And I like this echo. No, I don't. And as our good buddy in Australia, Swillengrog, would say, now to the most important part of the review, the taste test.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Friday or happy Wednesday. And because I'm Thomas Metal 75, I got to make a great dedication to late great Damage Plan, Pantera, and Hell Yeah drummer Vinnie Paul, who passed away the other day at 54 years old. Way too young for that crap. Cheers to that, man.
Let me break my beer down first. I'm drinking, as you can see here, a pale sour ale. So, a pale sour ale. I'm expecting a beer that is maybe lightly hopped, that is sour, you know. And that's pretty much it. Just with the little bit of beer taste to it. But this, I don't know, guys. This tastes like melons. It tastes like bananas. You're getting all the spices that you get in a Belgian kind of beer, maybe in a Tripel. And this is not even 7.7% alcohol. So why am I getting these spices and these flavors when I was supposed to get a sour pale ale? I'm not getting any hops. I've never had a pale ale with no hops. This is a pale ale with no hops. Tastes no hops in this beer. Tastes a little bit of melon, maybe a little bit of brown sugar. And yeah, just that Belgian kind of Tripel kind of taste. No sourness either. A little bit on the nose. I said you get sourness, but when you taste it, you get no sourness. It's very misleading. I'm not a fan, and I'm not impressed.
Do you think potentially, as we were talking about in our Facebook messaging chats back and forth recently, do you think that maybe Brewery Ommegang with this particular beer that you're drinking this evening is trying to ride the wave of this sour beer craze, and maybe they just potentially missed the mark on that one?
Yeah, they missed the mark completely because it's supposed to be delightfully tart and refreshing with a pale golden hue and white head, gently malty with a balanced tartness and sweetness. No, product of Belgium. Yeah, you know, and it tastes like a Belgian kind of beer. It does not taste like a pale sour ale, like they have real big right in the front. I'm kind of grossed out by it, to be honest.
Ugh.
So you don't think Ben would like it either?
No, no one. It's not a sour. I don't understand that they're selling it as a sour pale ale, you guys, and it's not in that style. Nope, no hops.
Interesting.
And I feel really bad because my quadruple is wonderful.
We'll go
Let's hear about it.
Yeah, let's go right ahead into the Three Philosophers. Very famous craft beer. If you never heard of it, go look for it.
And by the way, I bet that's not a cheap beer, Michael,
No,
because my beer wasn't cheap either.
It's not the most expensive craft beer on the planet Earth, though, either.
But these beers run probably in the $10-11 category for, you know, 25.4 ounce thing. I think the food co-op, sometimes you can get them for $10. Sometimes they have them at Costco also, where they sell them. But this is really a very exceptional beer. The taste follows the nose in that you're getting the maltiness and the yeast in the taste. And one of the best things, it coats your mouth and it stays. In other words, your mouth continues to feel the flavor and it doesn't leave. Because a lot of beer, sometimes you get a fast fade after you taste it. The taste stays in your mouth. It doesn't taste like a 9.7%. So that's a good thing also. But I guess it's beer you have to be careful not to chug. Go slow.
I think Tyler might be doing a little itty bitty bit of echoing. You're not too loud, but some's echoing just a tiny bit, I think, on your end. Not too badly, though, so it's not very loud. But just want to bring that to your attention. So far, so good on Three Philosophers, yes.
This is not the first time I've had it either. I've had this at least 2 or 3 times before, but it's quite good. And my wife took a sip. I gave her some when I first opened it, and she gave it a high rating.
Do you think that's a good beer for this time of the year?
I wouldn't say this is exactly a beach kind of beer, but it's, I mean, the high alcohol, I guess, is not as refreshing as some of those, what would you call them? Lawnmower beers. It's not like that.
Beer?
No, it's a heavy duty beer. It's probably more for your cooler weather, your colder winter kind of weather. But you know, you can drink this anytime.
Okay. Well, I'll get right down to a description on, once again, the double, their Abbey Ale. This is, again, 8.2% alcohol by volume. And as I sip on this beer, sipping beer is perfect description for this and Michael's beer.
Mine too.
It definitely has that caramel toffee toasty quality that I got from the nose. I'm getting dark fruits, raisins, figs, maybe even like dark alcohol soaked cherries in a way.
Yeah.
There's definitely a funky, I don't know how to describe this. Maybe Michael might know a better way to do this, but I'm definitely getting from the yeast. It's not a tart sour kind of a funkiness, but it's more like that how would you say, like a musty horse, like a wet horse blanket, musty hay kind of a yeast strain in this beer.
Is it kind of like a Saison funk, but more intense?
Sort of. I mean, the best way I can describe it is it kind of has a must to it. I don't know how to describe that properly, but I think you could be on the right track with that one. There's definitely a perceivable cherry-like influence to this one. It's not like you're drinking cough syrup. It's not that cherry forward, which I'm grateful for. But in general, there are some spices, some like cooking kind of spices, baker's spices in here.
Brown
that
sugar.
Kind of give the beer, that are kind of like nutmeg, and there's some clove and some cinnamon and maybe allspice that are giving the beer like almost like a fruit cake in a way. that's giving the beer almost a medicinal kind of a herbal, not really herbal, but more of a medicinal kind of a flavor overall. You know what I think will be really good in this beer? The beer is, let me talk about the mouthfeel first. I think it would be better a little bit warmer, but it's still good at refrigerator temperature.
I think all their beers would be better warm.
Yeah. This is like a middle of the road, medium mouthfeel. It's kind of light in the mouth, to be completely honest, for what it is, which is really nice. It has somewhat of a syrupy sweetness, but it's not so heavy that it detracts from the drinkability. Obviously, I mean, look at that. There's still crisp carbonation billowing up, and this I don't think this is a
Belgian style to the maximum.
I don't think this is an etched glass. So lots of carbonation. It's crisp. It's semi-dry. It's not the world's driest beer at a double. And is it refreshing? In a way, it is for a giant beer. So you know what I think would be really great with this beer is to see a barrel aging influence. I think with that Belgian yeast strain and some of those darker fruit characters, it could amplify some of that a little bit more. And it actually might cut down on some of the sweetness. On all of our beers, unfortunately to Tyler, I don't think that we're getting a whole bunch of hoppy notes from our beers.
Yeah, there's very little in mine also. I can't get, but I don't think in Eric's and mine they're going to be doing that. They're not looking
to say that. Yeah,
Tyler should have some because otherwise, how do you get?
It was a pale ale. I'm so confused. There's no hops. Yeah.
Well, they could have gone. They could have taken the terminology literal and said, "Oh, it was brewed with an ale yeast, and the color is pale."
Usually, I've always had pale ales with that pine. Hoppy pine kind of characteristic, like biting into a pine cone kind of thing. Even I was expecting maybe some dry hopped characteristics, but
the company that you know the collaboration, Tyler, that's yours and the one that I bought also is Leafman's, and they're known for blended sours. But obviously, this combination did not play well to the sour.
They missed on the sourness. They really missed. They missed on the sourness.
But you said you just had it a little bit in the nose, and that was it.
A little tart, funky thing.
Right on the nose, you get like, oh, it might be sour, but yeah, they're really missing on the lactobacillus sourness.
Bart Robinson is potentially thinking that the date could have something to do with the fact that it may not taste so sour anymore. Do you see where the date is?
Mine is super fresh.
I think mine says it's best by, if I'm reading this right, I think mine says it's best by February of 2020.
Right. Mine says the 10th, so October of 2019.
I would not keep that beer around that long. Good golly, Miss Mullen.
Right. Mine and yours. We got super fresh beers here. I'm giving it a true. I got this from Total Wine and Spirits today.
That's not a cure.
Mine doesn't have any date on it, but this one was brewed in 2016. But this is a style you'd want to sell her.
Yeah.
There's nothing. This for sure. This is fresh.
Two questions from Michael Kormaroff. When did you open that beer, and how is it developing as we speak?
Okay, it's been open now for like 40 minutes. But I have one of those things on it to keep the carbonation in it. You know,
one of those things for the.
I will show you what it is.
A champagne stopper. Yes, I use one of those myself.
And it helps with the carbonation because at least keeps it in the bottle. But what's happening as this is warming, it's getting better. So I think Ommegang stuff, the temperatures they tell you are being accurate. I chill it probably to over 50, but now it's starting to get, maybe right now it's in the 40s somewhere. Because now I'm starting to get the dark fruits that you had earlier. Now they're starting to come through in mine.
Yeah, I definitely agree that even just as you said that and I took a sip, it made me think of that. Definitely. There's something I was talking about what did I say? It was like a minerally kind of a water, almost like it's like a well water kind of a taste.
I would like to say
these Belgian style beers and these darker Belgian beers, I'm definitely getting that that minerally copper kind of a taste from this Abbey Ale, which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting. Yeah, in a positive way. Usually I don't like that flavor, but I see it a lot in the darker Belgian ale, so I kind of like that in this one.
I believe you. And I think if anyone likes those fruity characteristics that you get from yeast and kind of like the what am I tasting? Is that a fruit? But no, you know, you're drinking a regular beer. If you like the Belgian style, this brewery is something you're gonna like. It's particularly, I don't like the Belgian style, so I probably would never have this brewery again. But if you like the Belgian style, you guys check this one out, because I can tell the beer I'm drinking is high quality, you know, and it tastes good, and I'm enjoying it. But it's just a little bit different for me.
Does it need a rebranding, maybe?
Oh yeah, this is not a pale sour ale. No way. I'm just no.
So it's just really a Belgian style ale. It says it really has nothing to do with sour or pale.
Hello, Kent Beer Reviews, by the way. Go ahead, Tyler.
But if you like the Belgian style, you guys would love all their stuff. I could see it. It tastes not bad. What I'm tasting is not bad. I've never said, oh, this beer is bad. You know, it's never one thing I said. I'm just saying it's not a sour pale ale like I was expecting.
I think this will be a really good brewery. I don't think that they're again, Michael Komarov's beer is a little more pricey than most beers on the marketplace. I don't think that they're the world's most expensive craft beers that you couldn't go and buy a beer from Ommegang and feel terrible about doing it. I think this will be a really good beer company for Tyler to go back to, maybe with Ben, his new roommate of Washington, and maybe kind of do a thing like Michael Komarov does, maybe once a month or something. You guys can have a bomber or two and try some new beers together. I think this brewery, Ommegang, would make some more authentic. Now, when I say authentic, I'm talking about more of an authentic style like Michael and I have of Trappist monasteries, like the Trappist monks. So your doubles, triples.
Yeah, I've had some. You know, it's not my favorite style. Too much of that spicy brown sugar. Too much spice for me or something. I don't know.
I might like the more pale beers, like the wit beers and maybe saisons. I've had some Belgian IPAs and I've had some Belgian pale ales. Some of them were good, mostly maybe because I'm in America. I don't know. I just seem to think that they missed the mark a little bit, although they would be using in those kind of styles different ingredients to get a more Belgian influence out of the taste. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on just Belgian beers and darker Belgian beers overall, Michael Komarov?
It's right. As they say, it's right in my wheelhouse. It's one of my favorites of all the different styles of beer. I like it a lot. I guess the only things that I would say right now are ahead of Belgian in mine is a really exceptional Imperial Stout or a really good New England IPA, because that's been my latest thing that I really like now too.
Welcome to Massachusetts Beer Reviews, everybody.
No, but I'm just saying it's a style that we've done several times, and I know you drink them on a regular basis. I do too, and it's totally different than your regular IPAs. I mean, it's going to be a new class of IPAs.
Yeah, I think it already became a subcategory of an American IPA in the beer judging certification program guidelines.
Okay, so it's already there. I like that. I like that style also. I mean, I still like standard IPA, American IPAs as well. But I have to say now, I'm getting to the point now, and I still own some, so I'm going to drink them, where I don't like as much the heavily malty front IPAs. You know the ones I'm talking about. Trying to think of an example. Some of the Southern tier ones, like that 2X Smash.
There you go.
That was extremely malt forward. It was up for an 8.1%.
Yeah,
it was okay.
How about this Dale's Pale Ale?
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Good beer to bring up there. Yes.
But it's not a style I will not drink. It's just one that I used to drink a lot more, and now I have other options, so I'll probably not drink it as much.
So I think we kind of are getting the gist that sour pale ale from Brewery Ommegang is not a favorable beer to Tyler Mansell, but if he were to rate it like we always do on our channels, how would you rate it, sir?
This would be probably the first ever beer that I have to give an F to.
Whoa, not a 90. Okay.
Yeah, no. This is definitely like a 51.75 out of 100.
Wow. Okay.
51.75.
Tyler, I got it.
Is it a drain pour?
First of all, you're looking for a pale ale, you guys. This is not it. You're looking for a sour beer like I was. I even went into the website and I looked into sour beers in my area. And funny enough, they're doing an examination of one of the sour beers on the website. Turns out, not very sour. So, you guys, not a good beer.
Was it would you consider it a drain pour that bad?
No, not a drain pour, but it's just not what it's a more Belgian style.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a Belgian style now, that's a whole different category. I'll give it something way higher, maybe pushing 70 to 80s. But it's no. They pulled the crap out of me.
It's the same kind of, well, no, let me put it this way. I'm not going to try to compare breweries, but when you drink Brewery Ommegang or Omnigang, however you pronounce that damn thing, you're expecting that you're getting Belgian style.
Yeah, but they never said that in the description. They fooled me. If I knew what I was getting into, it would have been a whole different situation. I would have got, a Belgian style and would have just dove right into and done the examination with you guys. But I was fooled.
He was duped, and Gabriel Celaya said, what did he say? He said he would try it. He said, I'd never had it, but I'd try it. Right. Well,
which one?
Yours. While you were talking, he said that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad beer. It's just definitely not a sour pale ale.
All right. Well, that's fair. That's fair and honest, like our great buddy Michael Komarov is most of the time. How would you describe the beer at this point, and what are you going to rate it?
Okay. I would say also, Eric, I'm getting some of your other things as it warms. I'm getting the cherry influence now.
Yes.
I had the dark fruit before. I'm getting the cherry. Also, I'm getting more of the sweetness, but it doesn't reach the cloying level. It's a pleasant sweetness. It's not something which you would find off-putting or negative. It's very nice. But again, I like the Belgian yeast quality that's in it as well. So I would give this a 97 out of 100. World class.
That's pretty damn high.
Extreme from 51.75 to 97.
Damn.
So that's an A+ in my ratings.
And the very minimal that could be done differently to the beer to suit more of your
maybe a little bit more carbonation, but it's certainly enough.
Did you were talking to us about some of the off air maybe last week? You were talking about some of these Brewery Ommegang beers that you had on hand that you could choose to do this review on. One of them was a Three Philosophers like you had here, and the other one you talked about was their barrel aged. Are you still saving that barrel aged?
Yes, I'm cellaring it a little bit longer before I decide whether I'm going to have it.
And have you ever had their barrel aged?
No, but I have had other barrel aged Belgian beers, but not that one yet. I'll have to let you know.
You cannot tell us how it compares quite.
No, I can't because I've never had it, but I will at some point. I will have it. They also make one called Rare Voix, RAREVOS. VOS is another beer
I had that
they make.
once, and I thought that was a pretty outstanding beverage.
So they have a whole line of beers, and it's they make an IPA, which I didn't find. I didn't find their IPA as good as some.
Yeah, Belgian style IPAs are just a whole different breed of IPA altogether. Just very different from
Tyler, you might say that you didn't like the Belgian IPA either because it doesn't have all the hops in it that the American IPAs have.
I'll tell you what, I don't like the Belgian sour pale ales either.
Oh boy, oh well. Try you some Ommegang again.
It's funny because this makes me realize how good the Goza. You remember we did Gozas last Friday on my channel?
Right.
Yeah.
Ben just gave it kind of an okay rating. I gave it a really high rating, if you guys remember. I gave it a really high score. And because it deserved it. That was exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish this beer was exactly what it was, but it's not.
Ugh.
See, Ben's objection to yours was he thought it was a little bit too plain Jane. He wanted the sour to be.
Guess what? I've been craving that beer ever since. Two funny things about that. Jay said he never wakes up and he craves a Goza. Ben really didn't love the beer, but I did, and I've been craving it every day since we did the examination. So it's really good.
But you can get more of it, Tyler, right? You just
I saw it today.
So I mean, it's not something you can't get.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink more of it too. It's by Reuben Brew Company. There Goza.
Art Robinson says that he said I've had several good Belgians, but my absolute favorite is Saison DuPont Farmhouse Ale.
Very good.
Amen, sir.
Very good.
World class, in my opinion. Thankfully, I can get it locally.
It's very interesting. Awesome. It's very interesting how we all have different taste buds because I was watching reviews today of the beer I'm drinking right now, and I watched 3 different reviews of it, and all 3 of them, they said completely different things and had completely different ratings. So it just shows that all of us have different taste buds, and every beer is not for everybody. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah.
My beer tonight that I'm drinking is very high quality, and it's and like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to kill you, but I just personally don't like it. And some person might really like it.
When I do drink it, Tyler, I'll let you know what I think. I might decide to use it in one of my blind tasting things to get a better overall feeling for what people think of it.
You got
mine's going to be totally different because you're not going to see it's supposed to be called a pale sour ale. You know, so
that's true. They do rate it before they know what it is, so they wouldn't be expecting the sourness in it. That part is true.
Right.
So maybe as a straight Belgian, it'll do pretty well.
It will. Yeah. It probably will.
So the head on this Abbey Ale double style monk-inspired brewed ale is dying rapidly. No matter what I do to it, it looks like murky water at this point, but it does not taste like murky water. It does still have a little bit of that mustiness to it. It does have those dark fruit qualities. Caramel and toffee malts, toasty qualities, spices from the spice rack in there. My rating is going to be of what could I change to this? This definitely needs to be in a barrel for damn sure. It tastes like there's a woody influence that's baking to come out from that yeast strain in there. I did not like it the first time about 8 or 9 years ago. I had no preconceived notions otherwise, and my taste buds are so underdeveloped. This is great beer. Don't get me wrong. A little bit of a pronounced cherry note and a medicinal note. That's not the greatest, but that's actually a really small aspect to the beer, to be completely honest. I mean, I have absolutely no clue. I want to call this a world-class beer in my rating system. And for some reasoning, I keep saying 92 in my brain. So write 92 down if you want. Michael Komarov.
That's a straight A?
Yeah, I think both of our beers, between Three Philosophers and the Abbey Double Ale from Ommegang, but they perform better at that recommended 50 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. Right now, this is even easier to drink. The carbonation isn't so prickly in your face. And all these notes of those spices and the fruits are coming out. And at least this beer here is begging to have some red meat, like lamb or steak or some kind of a beef dish with it.
Do you have something on the rotisserie right now that's cooking so you can take it off and have a quick meal after you finish?
Take a guess. No.
Probably not.
But this would be the beer to do that with for damn sure. I had a what is it called? A Gubayera. Gubayera is a Citra Pale Ale. I had that earlier with a TV dinner of turkey. That works good with turkey. This
Sounds
beer actually may overpower a Thanksgiving meal. There
Now,
actually may be aspects to the Thanksgiving meal where darker malts would work really well. This might be a little bit too dark for even dark meat turkey. Yes, Tyler.
citrus pale ale, though, not a sour pale ale.
No, Citra, as in a Citra hop, but it had more citrus notes than your beer did, I bet.
Tyler, when you were in Wisconsin, which was just a couple of weeks ago, was there an ample supply of Belgian ales there and Belgian beers there for you to try if you did like that style?
Oh yeah, and I also had Central Waters Brewing Company
Oh,
did the Belgian quad, the quadruple at 9%. You know, remember it tastes like caramel. I actually had a growler of it.
oh wow, that's a big ass growler.
So
Might even been 9.5% alcohol. It was their Belgian quad. Yeah. So a lot of them were available.
I'm sure you can find some in Washington State as well as you look around the different places.
So much beer here, it's crazy. Like we got Total Wine and Spirits, and like they had every beer you could ever think of there today. First time I've ever been to a Total Wine store, Total Wine and Spirits, or Total Wine and More, or whatever it's called. Yeah.
It's a national chain. It's funny they're not in New York City, so we don't have any. But
it's nice because you can order online, and then 1 hour later you pick up your stuff.
Yeah,
that's
we
great.
got 2 different store chains here in Massachusetts. The really big one is called Yankee Spirits, and it's just about the same thing as you described, Tyler, where you can order a bunch of crap and then kind of like on the Best Buy website, right? Or even like Walmart, you can order it online and then you can choose the store pickup to go and get them. There's 3 or 4 different locations.
Super clean. The hardwood floors in there were super like polished and like they just cleaned it, so everything was very clean in the store. I was impressed by that.
And the other store chain that I have, which is a little bit smaller, and they have at least 1 location in Rhode Island, I think in Cranston, Rhode Island, is called Wines and More, and I have a Wines and More in my town, and it's virtually the same kind of a store as Yankee Spirits, which is basically the same kind of a thing as Total Wine. And the one thing that I really like about those stores, and I've been to a Total Wine once in my life, the thing that I like about all those stores is that it allows you to go and do mix of sixes. And those are really, I primarily buy mix of sixes for these Wednesday nights. And I'll also supplement this mix of sixes for your channel on Fridays.
I saw Eric did a poll this morning about, the brewery. And so I was like, hey, I'll look it up. And I was like, hey, great chance to go buy it. And actually,
look, a good beer in that glass.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing bad about it. But I looked it up on the internet, and that's how I found it. But there's actually Total Wine pretty close to my house.
I've been to a Total Wine in Florida, not far from where my mother lives, and it's definitely a good beer store.
You get a lot. You get a lot of the beer at your food co-op. Is that right?
I buy most of my beer. It's funny. Lately, though, I've bought beer in Costco. I bought beer in a place called Thrifty Beverage. That's where I return my bottles and cans. Does Massachusetts have a nickel deposit law? And
they do.
Because I bring my bottles and cans back.
This bottle doesn't even. Oh no, it says nickel, 5 cents.
Michigan actually is 10 cents, where the other Eric lives.
Actually, this bottle, no, 5 cents. It's 10 cents in Michigan and Florida and Oklahoma for some strange reason.
So now Florida and Oklahoma. I thought Florida didn't have any deposit.
I think it says Florida FL. Yeah,
maybe.
So,
what else can you think of about Ommegang that we have not mentioned? It's in Cooperstown, New York, the same place where the Baseball Hall of Fame is.
Yeah, and they make a really good saison. No, is it a saison? Yeah, it's a saison. It's called Hennepin. I've had that numerous times, and I really like that.
I've had that too. That's a little bit lower in alcohol than this. I think it's 7.7, which is
Farmhouse ale.
still has some,
some bite to it. Yeah, and they used to do that beer a while ago. I say a long time ago, but in the grand scheme of craft beer, it wasn't that long ago. But for their brewery, it was a long time ago.
Oh,
when they used to make that. Yeah, go ahead.
When I was at Total Wine, and looking up on the internet and whatnot, the beer I'm drinking right now was $3.99 before tax for a single. Well, for the 6-pack, it was $11.99. So if you break that down, it was quite
pricey.
Better value just to get the 4-pack or whatever. So
that's good.
So that's why I decided to get the 4-pack of this
instead of the single. Yeah, good idea.
I told you in a text, Tyler, I only paid $2.62 for a single in my food co-op.
Yeah, but you're a lot closer to New York. I'm across the whole United States.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True. It's got to ship all that way. But what I was saying was,
literally, I'm as far away as you can go from you.
They make that they make that Hennepin, which is their saison, and they used to do it a while ago. So you can go to these things. Michael knows what I'm talking about. I think it's in New York State. Or it could be in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken, the Howe Caverns. They used to put these beers in their cork and cage bottles, these Hennepins, and they would put them inside of the Howe Caverns to age without and literally, if you know anything about caverns, obviously until modern technology comes about for tourists to put light systems in caverns, there's no light in there. It's cool in there. There's water dripping from the walls. It stays like cellar temperature, like 55, 50 degrees, maybe 60 at the most. And it can just sit there and age. And I wish I would have been 21 when that thing was out, because that would have been interesting to try. Cavern aged beer.
Sounds great. When I went on the tour of the Yuengling Brewery, and this goes back probably 10 years ago, they had caves where they used to sell. It's the oldest brewery in the United States from 1829. And in their main beer, their flagship Yuengling Lager, is a lager. So what they would do is, this is in the old days before we got to modern technology, they would keep the beer cellared in this cave. And I went in the summer, it was in July, and in the cave it's 45 degrees. It was amazing because you're kind of like in like a mountain inside underground. And it was
you can know that the KBS, the Kentucky Breakfast Stout by Founders, is cellared in the cave, right?
Correct.
Wow.
Now, do you think that the KBS is worth the price?
Oh yeah. So
you like that? That's one of your favorites.
Yeah. But it's just as good as Central Waters too. I think Central Waters is one of the best values when it comes to stouts. And I'm all the way here in Seattle, and I can tell you that hands down.
I'm sure you'll find some stouts in Seattle as well, as you get to try different things.
I would imagine. But as we wrap up Belgian beers, we got to say a shout out to Bart Robinson as always. Gabriel Salaya is here. Kent Beer Reviews was watching earlier, and John H. Pierre either was watching us while he was exercising in the park, or he has long since been out of the park. So thank you for watching, everybody. To round out Belgian beers and the brewery Ommegang in particular, what are your closing thoughts now? They change? Are they the same? What do you think of the brewery after this examination? Michael Komarov.
I think it's a good, consistent Belgian-style ale brewery. And I'll have to try the beer that Tyler's drinking tonight to see what I think. But I think they're above average for the most part, too exceptional. And their top-end stuff, I think, is really excellent. But like I said, it's one of my favorite styles, so I would give it a check plus.
Unfortunately, Tyler might have had a bad experience with the particular beer that he purchased for this examination, but still. What are your
Let me tell
thoughts?
you my closing thoughts. I will give them this. It's very complex. On the nose, you guys, I'm getting some buttery townhouse crackers, maybe some saltine crackers. I'm also getting some warhead sweetness to it, but that's only on the nose. On the nose, it's amazing. I get very complex flavors, like you said. Maybe some citrus characteristics, but now on the taste,
Not so much.
you guys,
Flat line.
it's very dull. It does not taste like hoppy, like maybe like a pale ale should.
Boo.
It
Boo,
does
boo.
not taste sour. It's just very, very interesting how it doesn't taste sour. So this beer to me just is a letdown. But
Yeah.
I love how it smells. The aroma is amazing. This beer, some people might like. Like I said, it's very complex. You can pull out a lot of characteristics. You guys, I could sit here and pull out a lot of characteristics, so I'll give them that. But it's just, to me, I don't like how it's called a pale sour ale. I'm not a fan. There you
All
go.
right.
Closing thoughts from Seattle, Washington. Cheers, everybody.
My clothing. Mike Tyson over here. Clothing thoughts. My clothing thoughts on Brewery Ommegang are: Tyler should try some other Brewery Ommegang beers to get a better picture of their brewery, because Michael and I both say
Okay, if I could add, in letters,
better examples of beers.
You add like a PS in letters. This is what I'm going to add in my PS. It kind of has wine characteristics.
Just try a different beer from them. You'll like it 100% better.
That is all.
My assessment is just like earlier when I talked about Brewery Ommegang has been a staple of craft beer, at least in the Northeast, in my opinion, for a long time. And there's never been a time where I haven't gone into a craft beer store or even a smaller end liquor store that has some beer selection, a la Sierra Nevada and Sam Adams, that might even just have Brewery Ommegang in there. So they go toe to toe with the big boys of craft beer all day long in Michael and I's neck of the woods. They're a little bit pricier. They're not a huge expense, but all day long is not the beer price to get. But I think if you want pretty consistent brewery brewed Belgian style abbey beers, monastery monk style beers, Trappist beers, Brewery Ommegang is going to be one that's going to fix that crave that you have, and it's going to be consistent from batch to batch. So try it. They got a lot of different Belgian beers, and see which one you like. So I think we have concluded Brewery Ommegang. Next week is the week of the 4th. We will be absent in observation of America's independence. And then the following week, in 2 weeks, will be another world famous Belgian brewery, Chimay.
I still have to get mine.
After that, I have some ideas. I tentatively, during lunch break at work today, if everybody's okay with that so far, we can collaborate with the others that are not here. But tentatively, I wrote after Chimay, we could do Victory Brewing beers and then maybe Rogue Brewing beers.
Okay.
We can talk about that and let you all know that watch the channel.
And don't forget that we're doing wheat beers this Friday on Tyler Mansell's Beer Reviews. So on my channel,
Mansell.
We're doing wheat beers. But would you guys like to do Ballast Point Sour Wrench the next week after that? Can you guys get that in where you guys are from?
Probably. I have not seen it.
I haven't seen that specific one. I do have access to Ballast Point, though, so I might be able to.
I think we already did Ballast Point on my channel, but if we haven't, I would like to, after wheat beers, I would like to do either Ballast Point, or if you guys can get the Sour Wrench by Ballast Point, pick it up. I would like to examine it on my channel.
All right, so if we can't get the wrench, we could just get any Ballast Point.
Yeah, but I would like to definitely, Eric, you look it up. But if no one can get it, I don't want to examine it. I like it, so that's a spoiler alert. I really like it.
Well, keep that in mind, and I guess let you know about that. So we are going to say goodbye from Wednesday night Thomas Meadow 75 Masters of Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. Until next time, keep tasting those great beers. This is a wrap.
Goodbye.
Yep.
Okay.